So hey anime fans, the story is about Naruto and residential evil and how Naruto traveled into residential evil and finished evil in the series. So get drive into the story. The gunshot came first. Not the sharp crack of a pistol, something heavier. A shotgun maybe, or a rifle round fired too close to concrete. The sound punched through the walls and left a ringing silence in its wake. Then the screaming started. Naruto pressed his back against the cold metal shelving unit, counting breaths the way Jiraiya had once taught him during those miserable weeks of survival training in the land of rivers. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Panic sharpens the blade you'll bleed on. He thought that was stupid at the time. The shelves held cans. Dozens of them. Labels in a language he could almost read, English, his brain supplied, the same language the Hokage had made him study for 6 months before sending him here. Undercover. Intelligence gathering. Low profile, Naruto. Do not engage. Do not use chakra unless your extraction is compromised. Fuck low profile. The second scream cut off abruptly. Gurgling sounds replaced it. Wet sounds. The kind of sounds that meant something was being torn open somewhere in this building. A vending machine hummed to his left. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting the corridor in pulses of sterile white and sudden shadow. The police station, Raccoon City Police Department, according to the sign he'd passed 3 hours ago, had gone from quiet to chaos in less than 20 minutes. 20 minutes since the first person stumbled through the front doors with blood running down her arm and her eyes too wide. 20 minutes since she bit the desk sergeant's throat out in front of 40 people. 20 minutes since Naruto discovered that chakra, in this world, attracted attention. He could feel them now. The infected. They weren't ninja, couldn't sense chakra the way he learned to track enemies in the forest of death. But something in them responded when he let his energy rise. Like sharks sensing blood in open water. When the woman had attacked the sergeant, Naruto had moved on instinct. Grabbed her by the collar, yanked her back, prepared to restrain her with a quick application of gentle fist principles he picked up from Niji's endless lectures. And she turned on him. Turned on him with speed that shouldn't exist in a civilian woman with one arm half-eaten. Her eyes had rolled back, showing only white. Her mouth had opened too wide, and she'd screamed, a sound that vibrated in his chest and made his chakra flare in response. The moment it flared, every infected person in the lobby turned. 20 of them. Maybe more. All staring at him with those empty eyes. Naruto had run. He'd spent the last hour learning the layout of this building the hard way. Crawling through vents. Hiding in supply closets. Watching through cracked doors as the infection spread through the station like fire through dry grass. Knock. 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 The sound came from his left. Down the corridor, past the water fountain and the bulletin board covered in faded missing pet posters. Knock. 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 A rhythmic pounding. Wood against wood. Someone was inside one of the offices. Banging on the door. Naruto's hand went to the kunai in his belt. Standard issue, iron blade, no special properties. He had 6 left. 3 explosive tags that he didn't dare use because the noise would bring every infected in the building down on him. No firearms, he'd never trained with them, and the few he'd found in abandoned desks felt wrong in his hands. Knock. 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 Louder now. Desperate. He moved. Low crouch, feet placement precise, shadow to shadow. The corridor stretched 40 meters with 3 doors on each side. The banging came from the second door on the right, a heavy wooden thing with a frosted glass window and light bleeding through from inside. The glass was cracked. Spiderweb from the center, as if something had been thrown against it from the inside. Or pushed against it from the outside. Naruto pressed himself against the wall beside the doorframe. Listened. Breathing. Fast, ragged, human breathing. A voice, muffled. Hear me? Is someone out there? Please. Not infected. Infected didn't speak. Naruto risked a glance through the cracked glass. A man inside. Uniform, cop maybe, though the nameplate was angled away. He had a desk pressed against the door, barricading himself in, and in his hands he held a shotgun aimed at the window. At Naruto. Their eyes met. Don't move, the cop said. His voice shook. His hands shook worse. Don't, I'll shoot, I swear to God. I'm not one of them. Naruto kept his voice low. Careful. His accent would mark him as foreign, but that was the least of his problems. I'm human. I'm trying to survive. The cop stared at him. His eyes were bloodshot, pupils blown wide. Shock, maybe, or the early stages of whatever was turning people into monsters. Naruto couldn't tell. How do I know that? Good question. Back home, he'd have summoned a clone. Poked himself with a kunai to prove he bled orange. Done something to demonstrate humanity. Here? You're pointing a gun at me. If I was one of them, I'd have already tried to eat your face through the glass. Something shifted in the cop's expression. Not quite trust, that would be stupid, but a crack in the wall of panic. The door's jammed, the cop said. Desk won't move. I've been trying to. He stopped. Swallowed. There's something in here with me. Naruto went still. What? The cop's eyes darted to the corner of the room. Just for a second. Just long enough for Naruto to follow the look. In the corner, behind an overturned filing cabinet, something moved. A shape. Human-shaped mostly, but wrong in the joints. It had been a woman once, still wore the remnants of a police uniform. But her arms bent at angles that weren't quite right, and her head was cocked too far to the side, and when she moved, it wasn't walking. It was pouring. Like liquid. Like her bones had forgotten how to hold her up. Oh shit! Naruto breathed. The thing's head snapped toward the window. Toward him. Its mouth opened. Not a scream, something worse. A wet, clicking sound, like mandibles working. Like it was tasting the air. Tasting him. His chakra flared. Involuntary. Fear response, the same way his heart hammered and his palms went slick with sweat. The thing in the corner responded instantly, its body convulsing, twisting, those wrong-angled limbs scrabbling against the floor as it launched itself toward the door. The cop screamed. The shotgun went off. Glass exploded outward as the thing crashed through the window, and Naruto was already moving, already rolling away from the door, kunai in his hand and survival training screaming run in his hindbrain. He didn't run. He came up in a crouch, kunai extended, and looked. The thing had landed on all fours. Its head swiveled toward him with that same mandible clicking sound, and its eyes, God, its eyes were human. Blue, pretty, the kind of eyes that belonged on a girl laughing at a festival. But the rest of her wasn't human anymore. You're not getting me, Naruto said. His voice came out steadier than he felt. You hear me? I've fought things worse than you. Things that would eat you for breakfast and still have room for. She moved. Fast. Faster than the infected in the lobby. Faster than anything her broken body should have been capable of. Naruto's reflexes screamed, years of training, of fighting, of surviving, and he moved. Her claws, when had she grown claws, raked through the air where his chest had been. He felt the wind of them. Felt the wrongness of her proximity, like his chakra was screaming contamination in a voice that wasn't quite his own. He stabbed. Kunai into shoulder. Solid hit, iron biting deep, and she screamed, that same vibrating scream that made his teeth ache and his chakra roil in his gut. But she didn't stop. Didn't even slow down. Her good arm, the one he hadn't stabbed, swung around and caught him across the chest. Not claws this time. Fist. A punch that felt like getting hit by a training log thrown by Lee. Naruto flew backward. Hit the wall. Hit the floor. Gasped for air that wouldn't come. She was on him before he could move. Straddling his chest, those wrong-angled arms pinning his shoulders, her mouth opening too wide. Pop. A hole appeared in her forehead. She went limp. Naruto lay there, heart pounding, staring up at the ceiling as the body slumped to the side. Blood, dark, too dark, almost black, spread across the floor tiles. The cop stood in the broken doorway. Smoke curled from the barrel of his shotgun. His face was white as paper. Get up, he said. There's more coming. Naruto got up. His chest hurt where she'd hit him. His ribs may be cracked. His chakra felt wrong, jittery, unstable, like it wanted to crawl out of his skin. He could feel the infected in the building responding to it. Drawing closer. The cop was already moving, grabbing a bag from behind his barricaded desk, checking his weapon with practiced efficiency. Name's Leon, he said. Leon Kennedy. First day on the job. Naruto stared at him. First day? Don't. Leon's voice cracked. Don't say anything. I know. I know. From down the corridor, the knocking started again. But this time it wasn't one door. It was all of them. Leon led. Naruto followed. They moved at a pace that wasn't quite running. Running made noise, and noise brought them, but wasn't far from it. 3 floors down, the emergency exit sign promised a way out. 3 floors down, freedom. They made it to the second floor landing before Leon stopped. Wait. Naruto pulled up short, kunai still bloody in his hand. What? Leon pointed at the door leading to the first floor corridor. It was propped open with a fire extinguisher, a deliberate choice, not accidental. And through the gap, they could hear sounds. Not infected sounds. Voices. Human voices. Raised in argument. Just leave them, we have to go. And go where? The streets are crawling with those things. Then we find a car. A truck. Anything with an engine. There's a helicopter coming. I heard it on the radio. You heard static on the radio, Jill. That's not the same thing. Leon exchanged a look with Naruto. Real people. Survivors. Or a trap. Naruto had seen enough impersonation techniques to know that things wearing human faces weren't always human. But this world's infected didn't seem capable of speech. Didn't seem capable of strategy. They sound scared, Naruto said quietly. Not turned. How can you tell? The turned ones don't argue. They just move. Leon considered this. Then he eased the door open wider, shotgun raised, and stepped through. The first floor corridor opened into a larger area, a reception space with bullet-scarred walls and overturned furniture. 3 people stood near the shattered front doors, arguing in sharp whispers. 2 women, 1 man, all armed. The man saw them first. His gun came up instantly, a pistol, trained on Leon's chest. Freeze! Who are you? Police. Leon held up one hand, keeping the other on his shotgun. Leon Kennedy. This is... He hesitated. Glanced at Naruto. Naruto. Naruto supplied. Not his real name? No, it was his real name, but maybe he shouldn't. He was supposed to be undercover, supposed to be... God, this whole mission was so far off the rails he couldn't even see the tracks anymore. The man's eyes narrowed. You're not cops. Kennedy might be, but you... He gestured with the pistol. You're not American. Nope. What are you, then? Shinobi. Leaf ninja. Foreign intelligence asset. Lost, Naruto said. Same as you. One of the women stepped forward. Dark hair, athletic build, eyes that missed nothing. She wore a beret and a SDRS uniform that marked her as military or police special forces. Put the gun down, Barry. Her voice was calm. Commanding. They're not infected. You don't know that, Jill. I know that infected don't carry kunai. She nodded at the blade in Naruto's hand. And they don't bleed when you shoot them. Barry lowered the weapon, but didn't holster it. The other woman, blonde, younger, wearing civilian clothes under a bulletproof vest, edged closer to Jill. We need to move, the blonde said. Claire's still out there. I'm not leaving without my brother. The name sparked something in Naruto's memory. Claire. Brother. Chris Redfield, the briefing had said. SDRS member, missing since the mansion incident. The blonde must be. You're Claire Redfield? She blinked at him. How do you know my name? Shit. Undercover. Low profile. Fuck. Naruto scrambled. Your brother. I heard about him. The mansion. People talk. Claire's eyes went hard. People talk about a lot of things. Doesn't mean they know anything. Before Naruto could dig himself deeper, Jill held up a hand for silence. Everyone froze. From somewhere above them, the second floor, maybe higher, came a sound. Scratching. Scrabbling. Like claws on concrete. Then a crash. Then screaming. That's coming from the east wing, Barry said. Where we came from. We didn't clear it. Jill's voice was tight. We assumed. We can't assume anything. Leon had his shotgun up again. We need to go. Now. They ran. Not coordinated, not organized, just 5 people united by terror, fleeing toward the shattered front doors and the promise of open air. Naruto's legs burned. His ribs screamed. His chakra pulsed with every heartbeat, and he could feel them now, the infected, their attention turning toward this building like flowers following the sun. They burst through the doors into darkness. Night had fallen. The street outside the police station was littered with abandoned cars, broken glass, and things that might have been people once. Fires burned in the distance, painting the sky orange and black. Sirens wailed somewhere far away, unanswered. Which way? Barry shouted. The parking garage. Jill was already moving. We need wheels, and we need them now. They followed. Naruto brought up the rear, watching their backs the way he'd been trained, scanning shadows for movement. The street felt wrong, too quiet, too still, like the whole city was holding its breath. Something moved in an alley to his left. He spun, kunai ready. A dog emerged. Not infected. Just a dog. Some kind of shepherd mix, ribs showing through its coat, eyes wild with fear. It looked at them, looked back into the alley, and bolted. Naruto let out a breath he hadn't known he was holding. Keep moving, Leon said from ahead. Don't stop. The parking garage loomed ahead, a concrete monolith against the burning sky. Its entrance gaped open, dark inside, the automatic barriers snapped and broken. Jill disappeared into the darkness without hesitation. Claire followed. Barry followed. Leon paused at the entrance. Looked back at Naruto. You coming? Naruto looked over his shoulder. The street behind them was empty. The station doors hung open, darkness within. For a moment, he thought he saw a figure standing in that darkness. Watching. Then it was gone. Yeah. He jogged forward, catching up to Leon. I'm coming. The garage swallowed them. Inside, it was almost pitch black, only the distant glow of fires providing any illumination. Cars sat in silent rows, most undamaged, some with doors hanging open and windows smashed. The smell of gasoline hung heavy in the air. Spread out, Jill whispered. Find something with keys. Anything with half a tank. They moved through the rows, checking doors, checking ignitions. Naruto found a truck with keys still in the cup holder. He waved the others over. Here. This one works. Barry appeared from between two sedans. I've got gas. Not much, but enough to get us out of the city. We're not leaving the city. Claire's voice was sharp. I told you, I'm not leaving without Chris. Claire. No. I didn't come all this way to run. Jill stepped between them. We're not running. We're regrouping. We find a safe location, we establish communications, we then figure out how to find survivors. Including your brother. Claire looked like she wanted to argue. But something in Jill's expression made her stop. Fine. But we're not going far. They piled into the truck, Jill driving, Barry shotgun, Claire, Leon, and Naruto crammed into the back seat. The engine turned over with a roar that seemed deafening in the silence. Jill pulled out of the parking space, headlights cutting through the darkness. And stopped. In the beam of the headlights, a figure stood. Human. Male. Tall, with long dark hair and a red cloud-patterned cloak that seemed impossible in this world of American casual wear. He stood perfectly still, arms crossed, watching them with eyes that reflected the light like an animal's. Naruto's blood went cold. Itachi. The name escaped him before he could stop it. Leon heard. Jill heard. You know him? Leon's hand went to his shotgun. Naruto couldn't answer. Couldn't breathe. Because Itachi Uchiha, missing Nin, murderer of his own clan, the man who had put Sasuke through hell, was standing in a parking garage in Raccoon City, and that made no sense, none at all. Itachi tilted his head. Just slightly. His eyes, those terrible, beautiful Sharingan eyes, fixed on Naruto through the windshield. Then he smiled. It was not a kind smile. And then he was gone. Not running, just gone, like smoke and wind. What the hell was that? Barry demanded. Naruto's hands were shaking. He pressed them flat against his thighs to make them stop. I don't know, he said. And for once, it was the truth. Jill hit the gas. The truck surged forward, tires screeching, and they burst out of the garage into the burning night. Behind them, in the darkness, something watched them go. And smiled. The drugstore's metal shutters came down with a crash that echoed through the empty street. Leon stood at the manual release, breathing hard. That's the last of them. We're sealed. For now. Jill was already moving through the aisles, checking corners, scanning for threats. The store was small, pharmacy in the back, convenience items up front, a storage room that might serve as a defensible position. Barry, check the back exit. Claire, windows. Naruto. She stopped. Looked at him. He was sitting on the floor behind the counter, back against the cabinets, knees drawn up. Staring at nothing. Naruto. He didn't respond. Jill exchanged a look with Leon. Then she crossed to him, crouched down, got in his line of sight. Hey! Hey! You with us? His eyes focused slowly. Took her in. Yeah, I'm here. You want to tell us who that was? Back in the garage? No, he really didn't. Because how do you explain Itachi Uchiha to people who've never seen chakra, never heard of the Sharingan, never watched their best friend's brother murder an entire clan? How do you explain that the most dangerous man you've ever met just appeared in the middle of a zombie apocalypse for no apparent reason? I don't know, he said. It came out steadier than he felt. Someone from before. From where I came from. Someone dangerous? The most dangerous. Jill studied him. He could feel her weighing him, measuring, deciding whether he was a liability or an asset. In her position, he'd do the same. You're not American, she said finally. Your accent, your clothes, your weapons. You're not military, not police, not civilian. So who are you? Shinobi. Ninja. Foreign agent on a mission that no longer matters. I'm someone who knows how to survive, he said. And right now, that's all any of us are. Something flickered in her eyes. Not agreement, but understanding. We'll talk later, she said. Right now, we secure this position. She stood, moved away, continued her sweep. Naruto watched her go, then forced himself to his feet. Sitting here wallowing, that wasn't survival. That wasn't what Jiraiya had taught him. When you're scared, move. Action kills fear faster than thought. He moved. The storage room was small but solid, concrete walls, one reinforced door, no windows. Barry had already dragged shelving units in front of the back exit. Claire was checking the inventory, pulling out medical supplies and bottled water. Antibiotics, she said, holding up a box. Bandages. Painkillers. This place is a gold mine. For how long? Leon had joined them, his shotgun resting across his arms. We can't stay here forever. Supplies run out. And those things. He stopped. Shook his head. They're not stopping, Jill finished. I've seen this before. The mansion. The T-virus. If this is the same outbreak, it's only going to get worse. The what virus? Naruto asked. All of them turned to look at him. You don't know about the T-virus? Claire's voice held disbelief. It's been all over the news. Umbrella Corporation, bioweapons research, the whole thing. Naruto stared at her blankly. Where exactly are you from? Barry asked. Konoha. The Hidden Leaf Village. A place where we fight with chakra and magic eyes and summons bigger than this building. Far away, he said. Very, very far away. Jill's eyes narrowed. But before she could push further, a sound stopped her. Thump. From outside. From the street. Everyone froze. Thump. Thump. Drag. Something moving out there. Something heavy. Leon eased toward the front of the store, keeping low, using shelves for cover. The metal shutters were down, they couldn't see out, but sound carried. Thump. Drag. Thump. Multiple hostiles, Barry whispered. At least 3. Maybe more. The infected had found them. Naruto felt his chakra pulse in response. That same instinctive reaction, fear, preparation, the body's natural response to threat. And as it pulsed, the sounds outside changed. The thumping stopped. For a long, terrible moment, there was silence. Then the screaming started. Not human screaming, infected screaming, that vibrating shriek that made his teeth ache. But it was different now. Angrier. More focused. Like they knew exactly where he was. They know we're here, Claire breathed. They know I'm here. Naruto's voice was flat. It's me. They can sense me. Something about. He stopped. Could he explain chakra? Should he? Jill was already moving, dragging shelves toward the front door, reinforcing the barrier. Doesn't matter how. We hold them off. We fight. There's too many. Leon was at the shutters, peering through a crack. God, there's dozens. They're coming from everywhere. Dozens. Against 5 people with limited ammunition and no reinforcements. Naruto did the math the way Shikamaru had taught him, calculated odds and outcomes and survival rates. They lost. Unless. I can draw them away. Everyone stared at him. My energy. It attracts them. If I go out there, lead them somewhere else, you can slip away. That's suicide, Barry said flatly. Maybe. Naruto was already moving toward the side door, the one Barry had barricaded, the one that led to an alley. But it's better than all of us dying here. Naruto, Leon started. He didn't stop. Didn't look back. Because if he looked back, he'd see their faces, and he'd hesitate, and hesitation got people killed. He pushed the shelves aside. Opened the door. The alley was dark and narrow, stinking of garbage and rot. At the far end, he could see them, shadows moving, heads turning, empty eyes finding him. He stepped out. And let his chakra flare. Not much. Just enough. A beacon in the darkness, screaming, "Here I am, come and get me." They came. The first one reached him in seconds, a man in a tattered suit, jaw hanging loose, arms outstretched. Naruto sidestepped, kunai flashing, taking out its knee. It fell, still reaching, still crawling. He didn't wait to finish it. He ran. Down the alley, through a gap between buildings, into a wider street littered with wreckage. Behind him, the sound of pursuit grew louder, dozens of feet, dozens of screams, all focused on him. Good. Let them come. He ran harder. The city blurred past, burned-out cars, shattered storefronts, bodies that might have been dead or might have been waiting. He didn't stop to check. Didn't slow down. Just ran, and ran, and ran, until his lungs burned and his legs screamed and his chakra pulsed like a second heartbeat. He lost track of time. Lost track of distance. Lost track of everything except the need to keep moving, keep leading them away, keep. He turned a corner and stopped. Dead end. A wall 20 feet high, topped with barbed wire. No handholds. No purchase. Nothing. He turned. The street behind him was full of them. Dozens. Hundreds. Staggering, crawling, shambling toward him with those empty eyes and reaching hands. Naruto pressed his back against the wall. Reached for his last kunai. And waited. The first one was 10 feet away when the fire came. Not normal fire, purple fire, blooming in the crowd like flowers made of flame. It consumed the infected instantly, reducing them to ash before they could scream. More fire followed, falling from above, painting the street in shades of violet and black. Naruto looked up. She stood on the roof above him. A woman with blue hair and paper wings, her arms spread wide, her eyes cold as winter. Conan. She looked down at him with no expression at all. The others want you alive, she said. Come with me, or I let them finish what they started. Behind her, on the rooftop, more figures emerged from the darkness. Pain. His Rinnegan eyes glowing faintly in the firelight. Kisame, shark-toothed grin splitting his face. Deidara, already shaping clay in his palms. Sasori, wooden puppet joints creaking as he moved. Haiden laughing. Kakuzu counting something in his ledger. Setsu, half white and half black, watching with hungry eyes. And at the center of them all, a man in an orange mask with a single eye showing through the spiral. Tobi. No. Not Tobi. Obito. Naruto's kunai fell from nerveless fingers. You. Obito tilted his head. Behind the mask, his voice was almost gentle. Hello, Naruto. We have so much to discuss. Below them, the infected burned. Above them, the sky burned. And Naruto stood between, trapped between monsters he knew and monsters he didn't, with no idea which was worse. They didn't kill him. That was the first surprise. The second surprise was that they didn't even tie him up. Conan simply descended from the roof on those paper wings, landed beside him, and said, "Walk." When he didn't move, she added, "If we wanted you dead, you would be. This is not a negotiation." So he walked. Through streets still crawling with infected that somehow ignored them, walked right past without so much as a glance, as if the Akatsuki were invisible, or untouchable, or simply not worth noticing. Naruto's chakra still pulsed, still screamed "Here I am" to anything with the senses to hear it, but the infected acted like he wasn't there. Like they all weren't there. "It's the Rinnegan," Conan said, as if reading his thoughts. "Pain's vision creates a field. To the infected, we simply don't exist. Convenient. Useful." They walked in silence after that. Naruto's mind raced, trying to process, trying to understand. The Akatsuki? Here. In a world that shouldn't know they existed. It made no sense, unless they came the same way I did. The mission. The extraction. Something had gone wrong with the transport seal, dumped him in Raccoon City instead of the rendezvous point. If the same thing had happened to them. But that was too many coincidences. Too many variables. The Akatsuki didn't do coincidence. They reached a building, a church, its steeple cracked and stained glass shattered. Conan led him inside without hesitation. The others were already there, gathered in the nave like a twisted congregation awaiting their priest. Pain stood at the altar. In this light, with those eyes, he looked almost like a god. A terrible god, a god of suffering and sacrifice, but a god nonetheless. Naruto Uzumaki. His voice echoed in the empty space. We've been expecting you. I bet you have. Naruto kept his voice steady. Show no fear, that was the first rule of dealing with predators. So what's the play? Kill me? Capture me? Use me as bait for the others? Pain's expression didn't change. You think very small, for someone who carries a demon. Kurama. Naruto's stomach clenched. If they knew about the Nine Tails, if they thought they could extract it here. The beast is irrelevant in this world. Pain continued. Your chakra is different here. Unstable. You've noticed. It wasn't a question. Naruto didn't answer. We've all felt it. This from Obito, stepping forward from the shadows. His mask caught the candlelight, making the spiral seem to move. This world doesn't recognize chakra. Doesn't accept it. Every moment we use our abilities, we weaken ourselves. Burn through our reserves faster than any battle ever could. Then why are you here? Obito tilted his head. Why are you here? Undercover mission. Intelligence gathering. Low profile. The words felt stupid now. Meaningless. I don't know. Naruto admitted. The transport went wrong. I ended up here instead of. He stopped. Probably shouldn't mention the rendezvous. Instead of where? Does it matter? Obito laughed. It was a strange sound, almost genuine, almost warm. No, it doesn't matter at all. Because we're all here now, Naruto. Stuck in a world that's trying to kill us. And the question isn't why we came, it's how we survive. Survive. Naruto looked around at the gathered Akatsuki. You don't exactly have a great track record with that word. Kisame grinned, showing those rows of shark teeth. Haiden snarled something obscene. But Obito just kept watching, that single eye unreadable behind the mask. Things change, Obito said. Priorities shift. In our world we had goals. Ambitions. A plan that spanned decades. He gestured vaguely at the shattered church around them. In this world we have nothing. No resources. No intel. No way home. And a plague of walking corpses that want to eat our faces. So now you want to be friends? I want to be practical. Obito's voice hardened. You know this world better than we do. You've been here longer, made contact with the locals, learned how things work. We have power, limited but real. Together, we might actually survive long enough to find a way back. And if I say no? Obito shrugged. Then we leave you to the infected. Or kill you now and save time. Your choice. Naruto looked at Pain. At Conan. At the others. Weighing odds, calculating possibilities. If he fought, if he used everything he had, could he take them? Maybe a few. Not all. Not here, not now, not with his chakra burning out faster than it should. Choose survival. Choose to live. There's no shame in that. Wasn't that what Jiraiya had taught him? That sometimes the smartest fight was the one you didn't start. What exactly do you want from me? Obito's eye crinkled. Smiling behind the mask. Information to start. Where to find supplies. How to avoid the infected. Where the other survivors are hiding. A pause. And access to your new friends. The soldiers. The ones with guns and training. Jill. Leon. Claire. No. I'm not asking. They won't trust you. They barely trust me. Then you'll have to convince them. Obito stepped closer, close enough that Naruto could see his own reflection in that single dark eye. Think about it. We're not asking you to betray anyone. We're asking you to introduce us. To help us all work together. Because the alternative. He gestured at the ruined church. The alternative is all of us dying alone in a world that isn't ours. Naruto wanted to argue. Wanted to fight. Wanted to scream that he'd rather die than work with the men who'd killed so many, hurt so many, destroyed so much. But he'd learned something in the last few hours. Learned it in the police station, in the parking garage, in that dead-end alley with infected closing in. Power is useless in the wrong environment. He could fight. Could probably kill a few of them before they took him down. But what would that accomplish? He'd be dead, they'd be slightly fewer, and the survivors he just led the infected away from would still be trapped in that drugstore with no idea what was coming. Choose who to save. Not a choice he'd ever had to make before. Back home, he could always try to save everyone. Could push harder, fight longer, believe stronger until the impossible became possible. Here, that belief felt like a child's fantasy. Information, he said finally. I'll give you information. But I won't help you hurt anyone. And I won't lead you to the others until I'm sure you're not going to. He stopped. Looked around at the assembled Akatsuki. Until I'm sure. Obito nodded. Fair enough. One more thing. Name it. I want to know how you got here. All of you. The real story. A long pause. The candlelight flickered. Somewhere outside, an infected screamed. Obito looked at Pain. Pain looked at Obito. Some silent communication passed between them. We were summoned, Obito said at last. Not by accident, by design. Someone in this world reached across the boundary between realities and pulled us through. The same way you were pulled, I suspect. Naruto stared. Someone summoned you? Who? We don't know. We woke in a laboratory, underground, full of equipment we didn't recognize. There were bodies. Dead scientists, mostly. And one survivor. Obito's voice went flat. A man. Blonde hair. Sunglasses, even in the dark. He looked at us like we were specimens. Like we were fascinating. Naruto's blood ran cold. He called himself Weskier. Obito continued. Said he'd been expecting us. Said we were exactly what he needed for his next phase. The name meant nothing to Naruto. But the way Obito said it, the weight behind it, told him everything he needed to know. This Weskier was dangerous. Maybe more dangerous than the Akatsuki. Maybe more dangerous than the infected. And then? Naruto asked. Then he released the gas into the room. We woke in the city, scattered, with no memory of how we got out. The others found each other gradually. I found Pain. Obito shrugged. We've been surviving ever since. Looking for answers. Looking for a way home. Or looking for revenge, Naruto thought. But he didn't say it. So this Weskier, he's still out there. Still running experiments. Almost certainly. And you want to find him. We want to find him. Obito's eye fixed on Naruto with unnerving intensity. Because he's the only one who might know how to send us back. And because... He paused. Because I don't like being used. For a long moment, Naruto just looked at him. At all of them. At these monsters from his world, trapped in someone else's nightmare. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. It was a stupid saying. A dangerous saying. It had gotten people killed throughout history, throughout all the wars and conflicts and betrayals that made up the ugly tapestry of human existence. But right now, in this moment, it was all he had. Okay, he said. I'll help you find him. But on my terms. And if anyone, tries to hurt the people I'm protecting, I will end you. All of you. I don't care how long it takes or what it costs. Obito laughed again. That same strange, almost warm sound. I believe you, he said. Welcome to the team, Naruto Uzumaki. Behind them, in the shadows, Zetsu watched with hungry eyes. And somewhere in the city, in a laboratory buried deep underground, Albert Weskier smiled at his monitors and prepared for the next phase of his experiment. Dawn came gray and sickly, filtering through the church's broken windows like light through infected skin. Naruto hadn't slept. He'd sat against a pew, kunai in hand, watching the Akatsuki watch him. They'd spread out through the nave, Pain and Konan near the altar, Kisame sprawled across 3 pews like a beach shark, Deidara and Sasori arguing in whispers about something that involved a lot of hand gestures. Haiden had found a corner, and was muttering prayers to Jashin, occasionally cutting himself with his scythe just to watch the blood flow. Kakuzu was counting and recounting the meager supplies they'd scavenged, his expression suggesting he found the whole situation personally offensive. Obito sat closest to Naruto. Not quite within striking distance, but close enough to talk without raising his voice. You're still here, he observed. Nowhere else to go. You could have run. Tried to find your friends. Naruto considered this. Thought about Jill's steady eyes, Leon shaking hands, Claire's desperate hope. Thought about the drugstore, the barricaded doors, the infected closing in. They're not my friends. I've known them for, he checked, less than a day. Yet you led the infected away from them. Risked your life. It's what I do. Obito was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different, softer somehow. Almost human. You remind me of someone I used to know. Naruto looked at him. At the mask, the single visible eye, the scars on the visible half of his neck. Who? Doesn't matter. He's dead now. Obito stood, brushed off his cloak. We should move. Your friends will be wondering what happened to you. And if they're smart, they won't stay in that drugstore forever. They're smart. Then we'd better hurry. Finding the drugstore proved harder than expected. The streets had changed overnight. New barricades, new fires, new bodies. The infected were everywhere, shambling through the gray morning like the city's original population had been replaced by something wrong. But Pain's Rinnegan kept them invisible. They walked through crowds of the dead like ghosts, unseen and unheard. Naruto hated it. Hated the way the infected's heads turned slightly as they passed, as if sensing something just beyond perception. Hated the way his chakra still pulsed, still called out, still marked him as different. Hated that he was walking beside monsters to save people who'd probably shoot him on sight. The drugstore was still standing. The metal shutters were still down. The barricades still held. But something was wrong. Naruto could feel it, a tension in the air, a wrongness that had nothing to do with chakra. They're not alone, Obito murmured. Someone else is inside. How do you know? I can see. A pause. Through walls. One of my abilities. Naruto filed that information away for later. Friend or enemy? I don't know. The chakra signatures are different. One of them feels cold. Cold. That could mean anything. Another survivor. Another infected. Another. The shutters rattled. Naruto tensed. Obito put a hand on his arm, stopping him, holding him back. Wait. The rattling continued. Then a voice, muffled through metal. Can hear you out there. Come out slowly, hands where I can see them, or I put a bullet through this shutter and whoever's on the other side. Jill. Naruto recognized her voice. Recognized the steel in it. It's me, he called. Naruto. I'm coming out. He stepped forward, hands raised, into the gap between two buildings where he could be seen through the shutter's narrow gaps. A long pause. Then the shutters began to rise. Jill stood in the opening, pistol trained on his chest. Behind her, Leon held his shotgun at ready. Barry and Claire were visible deeper in the store, watching the street. But they weren't alone. A man stood to Jill's left. Blonde hair. Sunglasses, even in the dim light of the store. Black tactical gear. And a smile that didn't reach what Naruto could see of his eyes. Wesker. Naruto's blood went cold. Jill, he said carefully. Who's your friend? Jill glanced at the man. This is Albert Wesker. He found us an hour ago. Says he's SDRS, works with Chris. Her eyes narrowed. You know him? Know him. Oh, he knew him. Knew that this was the man who'd summoned the Akatsuki, who'd experimented on them, who'd released them into the city for reasons no one understood. But if he said that, if he revealed what he knew, would Jill believe him? Or would she think he was the threat? Trust under paranoia. I've heard the name, Naruto said carefully. Chris mentioned him. In passing. Wesker's smile widened slightly. Just slightly. Just enough. Ah, yes. Chris and I go way back. His voice was smooth, cultured, completely at odds with the chaos outside. He's a good man. I hope he's still alive out there. He's lying. Naruto knew it with absolute certainty. But he couldn't prove it. Couldn't explain how he knew. Behind him, Obito stepped into view. Wesker's eyes, behind those sunglasses, Naruto could feel them, fixed on the masked man with predatory interest. And who's this? Another survivor, Naruto said quickly. We met last night. He helped me get back here. Survivor. Wesker tasted the word like it was something interesting. From where? Does it matter? Obito's voice was flat. We're alive. That's all that counts right now. A long, tense moment. Jill's pistol hadn't moved from Naruto's chest. Leon's shotgun was now angled vaguely in Obito's direction. Barry had emerged from the back, his own weapon raised. Then Wesker laughed. It was a pleasant sound. Friendly. Completely wrong. Of course. Forgive me, I'm a scientist. Curiosity is a professional hazard. He spread his hands, empty, non-threatening. We're all on the same side here. Survivors against the infected. The more, the merrier. He knows, Naruto thought. He knows exactly who Obito is. Who the Akatsuki are. And he's playing some kind of game. But he couldn't say that. Not here. Not now. We should get inside, he said instead. Before more of them show up. Jill nodded slowly. Lowered her pistol. Stepped back to let them enter. Naruto walked past her, past Leon, past Claire and Barry. Felt Wesker's gaze on him like a physical weight. Heard Obito's footsteps behind him, steady and unhurried. The shutters came down behind them with a crash. Inside the drugstore, 8 people stood in uneasy proximity. Survivors, all of them. Allies, supposedly. Naruto had never felt less safe in his life. The storage room was too small for 8 people. Naruto sat with his back against a shelf of bandages, watching the others arrange themselves into factions without seeming to. Jill, Leon, Barry, and Claire formed one group, the Americans, the ones who belonged here. Wesker hovered at the edges of that group, not quite part of it, observing everything with those hidden eyes. Obito had claimed a corner, his single eye moving constantly, tracking every movement in the room. The rest of the Akatsuki were outside. Hidden. Waiting. Naruto had argued against it, but Obito had been firm. If Wesker knows who we are, we don't show all our cards at once. Let him wonder. So here they were. Playing games while the city died around them. How much ammo do we have? Jill was saying. Practical. Focused. The kind of leader who kept people alive by refusing to panic. Not enough. Barry's voice was grim. Maybe 200 rounds between all of us. Shotgun shells are even lower. We need to move. Find a police station, an armory, something with more supplies. The RPD is overrun. We saw it. Then we go further out. Suburbs. Rural areas. And leave the city? What about Chris? Claire's voice was sharp. We don't leave the city. We find a forward operating base. Somewhere defensible with good sight lines and multiple exits. The argument continued. Naruto tuned it out, watching Wesker instead. The man had produced a small notebook from somewhere and was writing in it. Occasionally he'd look up, glance at someone, make another note. His expression never changed, that slight smile, those hidden eyes, the air of a man completely in control of a situation that should have been uncontrollable. What are you doing? Naruto wondered. What's your play here? As if hearing the thought, Wesker looked up. Met Naruto's eyes directly. Held them. Then he stood, stretched casually, and walked toward the storage room door. Where are you going? Jill asked. Fresh air. The smell in here is... He made a face. Well, you know. Don't go far. I won't. He slipped out. The door closed behind him. Naruto waited 5 seconds. 10. Then he stood. I need some air too. Jill's eyes narrowed. Naruto. I'll be right back. Promise. He didn't wait for permission. Followed Wesker out. The main part of the drugstore was dim, lit only by what gray light filtered through the shuttered windows. Wesker stood near the counter, looking at nothing, his back to the door. You followed me, he said without turning. You knew I would. Of course. He turned then, those sunglasses reflecting Naruto's own anxious face. You're curious. Confused. Trying to understand how the pieces fit together. A pause. I admire that. Most people just react. You actually think. Don't pretend you know me. I know more than you think. Wesker leaned against the counter, crossing his arms. I know you're not from here. I know you have abilities that don't match anything in my research. I know the virus responds to you differently than it does to normal humans. Another pause. I know about the others. The ones you left outside. Naruto's heart hammered. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie. It's beneath you. Wesker's smile widened. I brought them here, you know. The Akatsuki. Such a fascinating group. So much potential. You experimented on them. I studied them. There's a difference. Wesker pushed off from the counter, began to pace slowly. You see, the T-virus is remarkable, But it has limitations. It degrades the host, destroys higher brain function, makes the infected predictable. He waved a hand dismissively. Your people, your ninja, they're different. Their biology operates on principles I don't fully understand. Principles that might, with proper application, create something new. You want to infect them? Turn them into. I want to improve them. Weskier stopped pacing, fixed Naruto with that hidden stare. Imagine it. The power of your chakra, combined with the regenerative properties of the virus. Enhanced strength, speed, durability, without the cognitive degradation. Perfect soldiers. Perfect weapons. You're insane. Am I? Weskier tilted his head. Your world has wars, doesn't it? Shinobi killing shinobi for reasons that probably seemed important at the time. My world has corporations destroying cities for profit. We're not so different, you and I. We just have different methods. Naruto's hands clenched into fists. His chakra flared, involuntary, rage and fear combining into something volatile. Weskier's eyes widened slightly. Just slightly. Just enough. Fascinating, he breathed. The energy spike. I felt it from across the room. The infected must love you. They do. And yet you survive. Adapt. Overcome. Weskier nodded slowly, as if confirming something to himself. You're the most interesting variable in this whole equation, Naruto Uzumaki. More interesting than the Akatsuki. More interesting than the virus itself. I'm not your experiment. Everyone's an experiment. Weskier moved closer. Close enough that Naruto could see his own reflection in those impenetrable sunglasses. The question is whether you're the experimenter or the subject. The door to the storage room opened. Obito stepped out. His single eye moved from Naruto to Weskier and back again. Took in the tension, the proximity, the barely contained violence. Problem? No problem, Weskier said smoothly. Just getting to know each other. Obito looked at Naruto. Raised an eyebrow behind the mask. He's dangerous, Naruto tried to convey with his eyes. He knows everything. He's planning something. If Obito understood, he gave no sign. Jill wants to move, he said instead. Now. Before dark. Weskier nodded. Sensible. He moved past Naruto, past Obito, back toward the storage room. Paused at the door. Oh, and Naruto? Think about what I said. About being the experimenter. A smile. I think you'd be very good at it. He disappeared inside. Naruto stood frozen, heart pounding, chakra still flickering at the edges of his control. Obito moved to stand beside him. He's playing games, Obito said quietly. Trying to divide us. Turn us against each other. I know. Then don't let him. Naruto looked at Obito. At the mask, the scars, the single visible eye. Why do you care? A long pause. Then, so quietly Naruto almost didn't hear. Because I've been where you are. Cornered. Desperate. Ready to make deals with devils because the alternative is worse. Obito turned away. It doesn't end well. Trust me. He followed Weskier inside. Naruto stood alone in the dim drugstore, surrounded by shadows, and wondered which of the devils he was supposed to trust. The decision to move came fast after that. Jill had found a map, creased, stained, but readable. She spread it on the counter, and the group gathered round, Americans on one side, Akatsuki on the other, Naruto caught in the middle like always. There's a police substation here. She pointed. About 3 miles east. Smaller than RPD, less likely to be overrun. If we can make it there, we might find weapons, ammunition, working radios. 3 miles through infected territory. Leon's voice was flat. At night. We don't have a choice. Staying here means running out of supplies. Running out of ammo. Dying slow instead of fast. She's right. Barry nodded grimly. We move or we die. Claire was already checking her weapon. Then let's move. They filed out through the side door, the same one Naruto had used to lead the infected away. The alley was dark, narrow, stinking of rot. But empty. For now. Jill took point. Leon covered the rear. The others spread out between them, moving in the kind of tense silence that came from knowing any sound could be your last. Naruto walked near the middle, Obito beside him. Ahead, he could see Weskier's blonde hair bobbing in the darkness. The man moved with an easy grace that seemed wrong for someone surrounded by death. He's not worried, Naruto murmured. No, Obito agreed. He's not. Why? Because he knows something we don't. Or because he's not as vulnerable as he seems. A pause. Or both. They moved on. The streets were worse at night. Shadows moved where shadows shouldn't move. Sounds echoed from everywhere and nowhere. Every corner could hide a threat, every alley could be a death trap. They made it 2 blocks before the first attack. It came from above, an infected dropping from a fire escape, landing on Barry's back with a shriek. The big man went down, weapon clattering away, hands grabbing at the thing clawing at his face. Barry! Jill was there in seconds, pistol pressed to the infected's head, firing. The thing went limp. Barry shoved it off, gasping, blood running down his cheek from a deep scratch. I'm okay. I'm okay. Let me see. Claire was already there, pulling out a bandage. It's not deep. We need to clean it, but... We need to move. Leon's voice was sharp. That noise... Too late. They were coming. Dozens of them, pouring from side streets, from alleys, from broken windows. Their screams filled the night, that horrible vibrating shriek that made Naruto's teeth ache and his chakra scream in response. Run! They ran. The next few minutes blurred into chaos. Running, shooting, dodging. Infected appearing from everywhere, clawing, grabbing, biting. Naruto lost track of the others, lost track of direction, lost track of everything except survival. He turned a corner and found himself alone. The streets stretched empty in both directions. No infected. No allies. No sound except his own ragged breathing. Naruto. He spun. Wesker stood in a doorway. Unruffled. Unafraid. Watching him with that perpetual half-smile. Where are the others? Scattered. Running. Dying, probably. Wesker stepped out of the doorway, approached slowly. This is the nature of chaos. It separates. Destroys. Only the strong survive. Then why are you still here? Because I wanted to talk to you. Alone. He stopped a few feet away, close enough to touch. About my offer. Your offer. Naruto's hand went to his kunai. The one where I become your lab rat? The one where you become my partner. Wesker's smile widened. I've been watching you, Naruto. You're special. Not just your abilities, your mind. You adapt. You survive. You make choices others can't. I make choices I hate. Exactly. Wesker nodded approvingly. That's what separates leaders from followers. The willingness to do what's necessary, even when it costs something. Naruto stared at him. At this man who saw horror as opportunity, who viewed suffering as data, who smiled while the world burned. You're wrong about me, he said quietly. I'm not like you. Aren't you? Wesker tilted his head. You're working with the Akatsuki. Men who've killed thousands. You made that choice because it was practical. Because survival mattered more than morality. A pause. I'm not judging. I'm observing. And what I observe is a young man capable of anything, given the right motivation. The words hit harder than they should have. Because they were true, weren't they? He was working with the Akatsuki. He had made a deal with devils. Where was the line between that and what Wesker offered? No. He couldn't think like that. Couldn't let doubt creep in. I'm not helping you, he said. I'm not becoming your experiment. And if you try to hurt the others are already hurt. Wesker's voice went cold. Barry's scratched. Infected. He'll turn within hours. Leon's running on empty, one mistake and he's dead. Claire's looking for a brother who's probably already a corpse. And Jill? He laughed softly. Jill's been working for me for years. She just doesn't know it. Naruto's blood froze. What? The SDRS program. The mansion incident. All part of the design. Wesker spread his hands. She's a tool. A useful one, but a tool nonetheless. When this is over, she'll either join me willingly or become another data point. Naruto couldn't find the word. Couldn't process the scale of the betrayal. I'm practical. Wesker moved closer still. Close enough that Naruto could smell his cologne, incongruously pleasant in the stench of death. And I'm offering you the same practicality. Join me. Help me understand your world, your abilities. And together, we'll survive anything. The gunshot came from nowhere. Wesker stumbled. Looked down at his chest. At the blood spreading across his tactical vest. Then he looked up, and he laughed. Interesting, he said. And vanished. Just vanished. Like smoke. Like he'd never been there at all. Naruto spun. Jill stood at the end of the street, pistol still raised, smoke curling from the barrel. Her face was white. Her eyes were wide. I heard him, she whispered. I heard everything. He used me. He used all of us. Naruto moved toward her. Slowly. Carefully. Jill. Don't. Her voice cracked. Just don't. From somewhere behind them, an infected screamed. They had to move. They had to survive. But as Naruto looked at Jill's shattered expression, at the pieces of her world collapsing around her, he realized something terrible. Some wounds couldn't be healed with chakra. Some betrayals cut too deep. And somewhere in the darkness, Wesker was still out there. Still watching. Still planning. Still smiling. Dawn came gray and cold. Naruto sat on the roof of an abandoned apartment building, watching the sun bleed over the horizon. Below him, the city stirred, infected beginning their endless patrol, survivors, if any remained, hiding in shadows, waiting for death or rescue or both. Jill sat beside him. They hadn't spoken in hours. Not since the running stopped, since they'd found this building, since they'd barricaded themselves in and waited for daylight. There was nothing to say. Nothing that would help. Behind them, through a shattered window, the others were stirring. Leon, asleep with his shotgun across his chest. Claire, pretending to sleep while staring at the ceiling. Abito, standing guard in the corner, his single eye never closing. Barry was gone. He'd turned during the night. They'd heard the change, the screams, the convulsions, the horrible wrongness of his voice becoming something else. Jill had put a bullet in his head before he could hurt anyone. She hadn't spoken since. The substation, Naruto said finally. Is it still an option? Jill shrugged. One shoulder. Minimal movement. We're low on ammo. Low on supplies. Low on everything. He paused. But we're still here. Some of us. The words hung in the air. Heavy with meaning. Heavy with grief. Jill. Don't. Her voice was flat. Dead. Don't tell me it's going to be okay. Don't tell me we'll make it. Don't give me hope like it's some kind of gift. She turned to look at him, and her eyes were empty. I trusted him. Worked with him for years. And he was using me the whole time. Everything I did, everything I believed, it was all part of his plan. Then make a new plan. She stared at him. Make a new plan, Naruto repeated. That's what I do. When everything falls apart, when the people I trusted betray me, when the world goes to hell, I make a new plan. I keep going. Because the alternative is giving up, and I'm too stubborn for that. You don't understand. No. He met her eyes. I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know what it's like to be betrayed by someone you trusted for years. But I know what it's like to lose people. To fail them. To carry that weight and keep moving anyway. Jill was quiet for a long moment. Then, so softly he almost didn't hear. How? How do you keep going? She nodded. Naruto thought about it. Thought about Sasuke, about Jiraiya, about all the people he'd failed to save. Thought about the Akatsuki, about the deals he'd made, about the lines he'd crossed in just the last few days. I don't know, he admitted. I just do. One foot in front of the other. One choice at a time. And I try to make the next choice better than the last one.